What's going on, Jeromes? Happy Tuesday out there, everyone, everywhere. Daily Jeromes live stream coming at you at 11 a.m.-ish Central Time. Well, most days. So Tuesdays may have to be shifting to 10 o'clock, but we'll let you know. But thanks for coming along. Make it as part of your day. For catching us live, awesome. On demand, you're cool too. Got a lot of Q and A. We'll hammer that out. Talking free agency, talking draft, talking Vikings, all that good stuff. So let's go. First up, Miles. Andrew Sendejo was a world-class safety, but he did save Zimmer and Spielman's jobs by somehow matching up with Michael Thomas' last Saints game. I would... Yeah, Sendejo was solid in 2017. Like, when your weak link on a studly defense is Andrew Sendejo, circa 2017, that's still a pretty damn good defense. And respect. I mean, he worked his way up as a UDFA, bounced around multiple teams, was in, like, the UFL, or... what was it called? Yeah, I think it was the UFL, where Denny Green, he played for the Sacramento Mountain Lions. And I would not bring Sendejo back unless he was like the last ditch option. Like the Vikings strike out on safeties in free agency, and if they strike out on top tier safeties in the draft, maybe. Zargoza 44. What was your actual reaction to the Minneapolis Miracle? I was jumping around the house screwing up. Well, mine was we were working on the post-game show. So I generally watch the games on mute anyway, because, I mean, the announcers. And so I didn't have it straight ahead. I had it on one of the side screens. So, you know, I was watching out of the corner of my eye, you know, the Vikings' last gasp effort, like, let's cussing out Mac Alexander giving up the 4th and 10 to stupid Willie Snead. But props to God, what was his name? The kicker. Oh, Kai Forbath. Why not blank on Cobra Kai? Nailing that 53-yarder that put the Vikings ahead, but then Mac gave that up. So I was just like, bah. And then out of the corner of my eye, I just saw it. Because the Vikings had run that same play, Buffalo right 7 heaven, multiple times on that drive. So and finally it hit. Poor Marcus Williams. It was great. It was so much fun. Anyway, next up. Let's see here. Oh, so my reaction was initially like, no. Because good things don't happen to the Vikings. So just like, there's got to be a flag. It's going to get called back. Like, what the hell happened? But then eventually I was like, Spartus. Actually, I think we might have been live streaming. I think that might be out there somewhere. Spartus, which draft prospects could you see falling out of the first round that would be a surprise to most people? I guess surprise? Maybe Azeez. Maybe Azeez Ujulari from Georgia because he's a little bit undersized, a little bit raw as a redshirt sophomore, maybe. Maybe Barmore falls out of the first round. Like maybe no defensive tackles are taken at all in the first round. Boogie Basham, he's on that fringe, high-end second round, first round type guy. I think Morig is pretty solid first round. Let's go surprise first round picks. I think Richie Grant might claw his way into the first round. He's a good player, man. He is a really, really good. Maybe Landon Dickerson finds his way to the back end of the first round, especially a team like the Packers or the Chiefs, which would suck, but yeah, so is life. Maybe Bateman falls out of the first round. Maybe Rondale Moore due to his injury history. It's a possibility. Next up, Diego Sid. Here's hoping to Kenny Wilkes bounce back here too. Loved him more than DJ Wanham. I won't go that far. Like DJ Wanham's a good player, but Kenny Wilkes, yeah, you do like his tape from Michigan State. Like he's not the fastest, the quickest, the strongest, the lengthiest type guy, but just that motor and just determination. I think that he could and should find himself a role in the Vikings this year. Husker, would you sign Eric Fisher if he came at the right price, say $6 to $10 million a year? That's a wide range, man. 6 to 8, yes. If we're talking about Riley Reef type money, yes, I would sign Eric Fisher. And yeah, that's initially I was out on him after he was cut because I thought that he could spank it for $12 million a year. But wow. Jaimo Kayukin. Do you prefer Vikings or tight end be a free agent or someone from the draft? Yeah, I mean, not all about signing free agent tight ends unless they're going to be your top tier starter. But I do like Hale Henches, the guy that picked up mid-season last year. He's a solid blocking tight end. And if you have Gronklin and Irv as your receiving tight ends, it's great. Or, I mean, if Kyle Pitts is there, let's go. Rohit Anapati. Hypothetically, if we got Orlando Brown, what is a reasonable extension you would give him, and how much do you think he wants? I would try to get him to go for like 3 years, $18 million per. So that's what, I can't do math. 44, 54? Sure. He probably does want that rarefied air, 4 years, $20 million a year, somewhere in there. Gorga, have you seen Cam Dantzler's high school quarterback highlights? Pretty slippery. Maybe could be Kirk's backup. It's funny to me that if you did a poll of all the players in the league, I bet you like 70% were former high school quarterbacks. Because in high school ball, you're going to put your best athletes on offense at quarterback or running back, sometimes wide receiver. And like even some linemen, like before they started filling out, I mean, small towns playing quarterback, absolutely, man. Tristan Bailey, Andy, the Jeromes are desperate for a Madden Vikings franchise. Maybe after the draft, maybe when we get some free time. Shamar Middleton, I say Super Bowl or bust this year. Make some more extensions. Trade for Orlando Brown. Sign either Cordero, Westbrook, third-tier guard, Ben Garland. Ben Garland's still out there? And Will Parks and JFC BPA. Yes. Yes, I'm in. Stanley Morris. We could have 3 total picks in this draft. If they're Darisaw, Dickerson, and Joe Tryon, I would be all in. God, that would be great. That would be great. Although Darisaw going to go top end first round, Dickerson and Tryon probably in that top 40-ish range. So, I mean, hell, if the Vikings packaged up all their picks and got them, and then maybe got a safety later, I'd be okay with that. Lucas Johns, what's your order for position of need if the draft was tomorrow? So order, just want to make sure the Vikings haven't signed Eric Fisher or something crazy. As of right now, I will say interior offensive line, safety, wide receiver 3, edge rusher, linebacker, because remember, Barr's on a 1-year deal. Running back, cornerback, tight end, quarterback, tight end. It's real unfortunate. I think the Vikings will be out on a quarterback this year. Or I'm not overly thrilled on some of the mid-round guys. You look at Davis Mills, You look at Kellen Mond. I know that Kellen Mond is getting a lot of hype. I just don't see it. Like, I understand that Chris Sims has a lot more trained eye than I for quarterback, but I just don't see it. Jamie Newman has upside. I like him, but other than that, nah. Grant Thomas. Just read a PFF article that said Daniil is unlikely to play another down for the Vikings. What? Do you believe this? I believe that they believe it. Mitchell Rauscher. How do you feel about Mitchell Trubisky Ponder going to the Bills, Josh Allen on the bench, and what just watch now? I mean, statistically, Trubisky had a better year than Josh Allen last year. No, I'm just kidding. Such a weird state of affairs, man, because I thought for sure that the Bears would be stuck with Trubisky, but it's just a game of musical chairs. There's only 32 starting quarterbacks, and he couldn't find a job, so he went to a team that thought could give him the best shot. If something happened to Josh Allen, that Bills offense is ready to rock and roll, plus you get to work with Brian Daboll, so that's a plus. Sure. Miles. How big of a jump will all the rookies that got playing time last year make? Big. I think, even though it wasn't pretty last year, I think Dantzler and Gladney and Wanham and Ezra getting some playing time last year will help them immensely. Zach L. Love Ezra. I know guard isn't his natural position, but his PFF grade is 66.2 last year, which is fine. We could blame. Well, a lot of his prowess and what he was great at best in was in run blocking, which we knew he had that. But the concern is him holding up in one-on-one spots, that anchor. And I think that if he doesn't add size to that lower body, if he can't hold his ground better, I think that he will start being targeted by defense coordinators to look at teams, throwing a lot of stuff at Garrett Bradbury. I think you'll see that same thing with Ezra. But I mean, maybe he could switch it around. But if the Vikings don't get a left tackle, if they don't sign Fisher, if they don't draft one, Ezra at left tackle, yeah, let's do that. Pulford Skull. Bleach Report is calling for Larry Fitzgerald to the Vikings. Yeah, they say a lot of things. They got like 5 billion authors still. Do they pay them yet? I haven't been paying attention. Zach Ballas, how's your bracket after the first weekend? I haven't been paying attention. I have Bama winning it because Roll Tide, because it's funny to me. I think they're still in, so we're good. I did call for the Loyola Chicago upsets, though, but because I like Sister Margaret. What's her name? I don't know. Hey, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple shout-outs. John Schwartz. What player would we draft at 14 and not trade out for? What's the farthest thing we trade back? What player would we draft at 14? Well, if Pitts is there, if Devontae's there, get him. If Darisaw or Slater is there, get him. If AVT is there, get him. Yes, even though I understand he's not sexy, AVT is a good player, man. Rousseau, maybe. Kwity Paye, yes. Caleb Farley, Surtain, yes. Trey Lance, yes. Mac Jones, no. Furthest trade back, I would say the latest would be 24. I think that's the Steelers. If they came up for a quarterback to eventually be the heir apparent for Big Ben, which is a possibility, maybe. And you could still easily get Radens at 24, Cosme at 24, Aziz will be there at 24 in all likelihood. Micah Parsons there at 14, take him. Maybe at that stage you go to Kadarius Toney, maybe Bateman at 24. So there's options. Matt Myers, with all your O-line draft, how many do you think will succeed in spite of Dennison? A handful. Like Dickerson, AVT, Wyatt Davis, Darisaw, Penei Sewell, Slater. Yeah, get after him. Mano Giscus, if we got Malik Hooker and drafted 10 offensive linemen, where'd you rank us in the season? Top 3, top 5? 1. Why he's such a hater? 1. Big old 1. A couple shout-outs. Let's see here. Purple Rain Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Diego Suarez from Houston, H-Town. Pulford Skull, Nashville, Hot Chicken. Brock Swanson, Casson, what's going on? USMC Veteran Skull from Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you for your service, brother. And thank you very much for coming along, making us part of your day at this weird time, which actually might become the normal time because we have a standing thing on Tuesdays now. Push Crow. What do you want to see from the Vikings in the draft and the rest of free agency? Love the work, man. Keep it up. Thank you. One more big piece. I want a big piece, like a big-time offensive lineman, Eric Fisher, Trey Turner, Forrest Lamp, whatever, and then just go BPA, especially at the top of the draft because, well, here's a misnomer. So BPA does not mean best player available at every single stage. Well, I mean, black and white, it does, yes, but you don't go BPA every single pick. Otherwise, maybe you'll end up with 17 running backs, right? But BPA at the top of the draft, you just draft the best player available. And you can do that for the first couple rounds, but then you can suture up and address various positions of need because the difference between the best player available in the 6th round versus the 5th best, I mean, that's not as big of a difference as it is at the 1st round, right? So if you can go BPA early in the draft, and then especially since the Vikings have 2/3, 4/4, and 5/5, addressing various positions of need, whether it's safety, whether it's interior offensive line, where this draft is fat in talent in the middle of that draft at those respective positions. Same thing with wide receiver. Go do that up. Next up, Tim03. As of right now, who are the Vikings defensive front 7? Left to right, left defensive end, Daniil Tomlinson, 3-tech, Pierce, nose tackle, Wanham/Weatherly, right defensive end. Then left to right, Sam linebacker, Barr, Mike, Kendricks, Will, Vigil, or Troy Dye. Miles, how big of a role should and will Irv Smith have next year? A big one. Barring them landing Kyle Pitts, I think Irv Smith is really going to shoot way up. Hopefully he can stay healthy and not pull his groin, even though I know it's a lot of fun. You're going to go blind Irv. But he can be that true move tight end, and him and Gronklin will be a really nice duo together. And I think it could open up the passing game. And I love Irv Smith Jr. I think that he will be a mismatch, especially if you line him up out wider in the slot. And I think that he will be a low-key sleeper fantasy darling next year. Nathan Stepan. Resign Cordero as running back 3, wide receiver 4, special teams ace. League minimum. What was it? 10.075? Nothing guaranteed. Yes. Tristan D. If the Vikings switch first-round picks with the Ravens, so 14 for 27, and send a third and a fifth for Orlando Brown Jr., would you make that trade? Yes. Yes, I would. Abza Abdi, if the Vikings do trade for Orlando Brown and don't come to terms with Hunter, should we trade him and get back into the first round? It would be tempting. But the Vikings could Bigfoot the deal. I mean, they do have him under contract for 3 more years. I don't think he wants to hold out or miss any more time. Nick Wolf, who are some of the guys that'll be under active free agents that you think are worth keeping an eye on? I think Forrest Lamp, if he can stay healthy, he can pan out that potential. Will Parks, who the Vikings have been chasing forever, would be decent. Nice, strong safety, as well as playing in the slot in big nickel. D.D. Westbrook is a guy that I've liked forever. I believe he's still out there. Next up, Max Kallenberg. Just want to make sure. Oh. Max Kallenberg, would you rather make one more splash signing, Clowney, Sherman, or Ingram? I would have 2 to 3 average guys, such as Park, Turner, Fisher. Well, Fisher will be considered a big splash. I think that he will get around $7 million a year. Lamp, well, if you can get Fisher, Turner, and Lamp for the cost of Clowney, go the latter. Yes, but I mean, Clowney gets a bad rap because he doesn't live up to that number 1 overall pick hype, but he is solid. He is decent. I think him and Hunter would be a phenomenal duo. Sherman, nah. Ingram. So Ingram, problem with Ingram is that he's a bit of a tweener. You know, the stand-up outside linebacker. He's undersized. I don't think he would be a decent hand in the dirt defensive end anymore. Primarily would be playing on passing downs. Like he would go the route of, ironically, Dwight Freeney, who I think they had crossover when they were with the Chargers. Yeah, so just playing on passing downs. But I mean, he can still bring it, but definitely a rotational guy. Trey Billmeyer, thoughts on Davis Mills? So Stanford quarterback, he's only started like 10 games or something low like that. So you don't have a big body of work. Accuracy is definitely questionable. He does have a big arm. I think he used to be a baseball guy, if I'm not mistaken. But he's 6'4". He's 6'4". He's like 220, 230. So he's definitely got size. I think that there is upside to like there. I think that Davis Mills and Jamie Newman are sort of in the same boat where, you know, Jamie Newman has more athleticism, but they're both big. I think they're both 6'4". They both have size. They both have a strong arm, but you question the accuracy. Jamie Newman does have a larger body of work, though. But I know there's been some hype that Davis Mills is the 6th quarterback. I don't really see that. I don't think there really is a 6th quarterback. I think guys like Trask and Mills and Mond and Newman are just sort of in that day 2, early day 3 soup of just like, it's whatever. Menogiscus. Would you trade Daniil or for Orlando Brown Jr. and the Ravens 2nd? Yes. Wow. AJ Barnes. Why do teams typically have their best defensive end on the right side of the line? Well, part of it is, you know, it's the old standby of the blind side, right? Generally, quarterbacks are right-handed, and generally the strong side of the offensive formation, again, generally goes to the right side of the offense, so the left side of the defense. And so generally your right defensive end is going to be one-on-one against the left tackle, which, you know, there are some badass MFers at left tackle, but it's just one guy as opposed to having to fight through a plus-size right tackle, plus a tight end, plus a fullback, plus a running back, etc. But I think the deployment of Daniil is that he is so good against the run. That's a big part of the Vikings defense. Well, except for last year. And especially against the run, it is absorbing. To a degree, it's a lot like defensive interiors where you absorb offensive linemen and let your linebackers scrape and make plays. And that's something that Daniil Hunter is great at. He's not about playing hero ball. Like, he doesn't have to shed blocks and get the pass rusher or get the running back himself. Like, he will occupy space. He will maintain his lane and his gap. And, you know, if he makes a play, great. Or if Eric Hendricks just fires in the gap untouched, hits that running back, I mean, that's a win as well. So I think that it's starting to change in terms of deployment of pass rushers specifically, because you're trying to get some juicier matchups, especially if other teams do have a stud left tackle. But yeah, I think it's, well, with Daniil, when he came in, it was more because the Vikings had Everson at right defensive end, stud, and they still had B-Rob at left defensive end. And B-Rob was a lot like Daniil Hunter. By the way, look at B-Rob's mock draftable or his combine numbers. Physical freak, man. Physical freak. But B-Rob had that size to hold up on the close side of the field against the strong side and was selfless enough to play against the run, where Jared Allen was on the other side, then eventually Everson, and then Daniil just turned into one of the best left defensive ends in the league. And he could still get a pass rush even going through trash. That didn't really answer your question, but whatever. DG, I say Wilson, third time's a charm. I wouldn't touch him for the league minimum with nothing guaranteed. At this point, he's a waste of roster space. Stanley Morris. With cap space now roughly up to 10 millish, I think it's going to be used on a trade for an established offensive lineman to extend Daniil. I would be okay with that. I would be okay. Let's go. Ruben Barajas. What do you think the Vikings have to give up to get Orlando Brown Jr. with 6 teams interested? I would give up the first. I know that's controversial. I know everyone's like, but I would give up 14 for Orlando Brown Jr. and pay him because I don't care. We know Orlando Brown Jr. is good. We're hoping that whoever the Vikings get at 14 is good. You still have 10 picks, including 6 in the 3rd and 4th round. You're going to be okay. God, that'd be great. Eric Montefudula. And no, by the way, the Ravens won't go for, well, what if we just give you a 3rd and a conditional 4th? No, it's not going to happen. Eric Mantufel. With Kirk not restructuring, do you think there will be another contract with him, the Vikings after 2022 season? I think the plan will be next year to restructure, add void years, and spread out the $45 million cap hit into, I don't know, maybe 25 and 20 or 22 and a half, 22 and a half. I think that's the plan. Miles, who is the Cameron Dantzler of this draft? Well, Dantzler is such a unique player in that, I mean, skinny. You do worry about his size durability. He was also hurt when he initially ran at the combine. Was fine as pro day. But in terms of a player who's being knocked because of size, I would say Asante Samuel Jr. from Florida State. I mean, Asante Samuel, undersized, but he's a tough son of a gun, man. Like, he is a tough player. I like him a lot. I don't think he'll go first round, but I think he'll probably go top 50, somewhere in that neighborhood. He's a good player. Ezekiel Lockhart. Number 1, what's your favorite animal? Cow, because they're delicious. Number 2, would you ever put your truck on a lift kit? No. Number 3, well, if we move to Texas, maybe. If you could acquire one guard, would you? Yeesh. Samuel Salinger Skull. What would a perfect rest of the offseason look like for you? Sign Will Parks, sign Eric Fisher, sign Forrest Lamp, draft BPA, baby. Let's go. AJ Barnes, say why Davis available in 3rd, or someone would get in 2nd. But he has to sit out the entire season because of injury. Yes, I would take him and redshirt him. That's one of the privileges that you have with having so many damn draft picks. Yeah. Jem Roberts. If you haven't done a video the last 2 hours on it, Kuipers today mock has trading up 5 spots to get Penny Sewell. Wow. I did not see that, but yeah, we will definitely talk about that. Wow. Mel Kiper Jr. Wow. Kiper. Yeah, we gotta talk about that. My goodness, because we had talked about, man, the Vikings want to just go all the way up and go get Penny Sewell. 5 spots doesn't seem like enough. What, you're going up to 9? Because who's at 9? The Broncos. Oh, no, the Broncos will just take him. I mean, Penny Sewell and, well, they got rid of Juwan James, right? But Penny Sewell and Garrett Bowles as your bookends. Let's go. Next up, Miles Effin. Vikings should trade for Shelvin. Vikings should draft Tyler Shelvin, the nose tackle at LSU, and just go to a 3-4. That's a lot of size, man. That's a lot of size. Shelvin, probably going to go day 2. I like him a lot because he just gets it. Road Anapati. Do you think if no one budgets for Orlando Brown, it could turn Trent Williams' situation from last year where the Ravens deal him on cheap on draft day for the 3rd and some change? No. I think the Ravens are definitely not above bigfooting their players. So Brown would show up. He'll play right tackle for a year, and then he'll leave in free agency, and then he'll spank it big time. Yeah, and then the Ravens will get a 2023 3rd-round comp pick. Jacob Ward. It definitely looks like Zim and Spielman are trying to get back to 2017 Vikings top 5 defense and an offense that won't lose the game. I think it could work. Well, that offense is going to be a badass mother. Like, that offense is going to be good, man. Sean Sebastian, who are the best guards left in free agency? Trey Turner, Forrest Lamp. Actually, let's look. Let's look just to make sure. I think Blythe is still out there chilling. Let's see, statuses, available, position, guard. Turner, Zach Fulton's out there, even though he was booty last year. Easton's out there, even though he's visiting the Texans. Lane Taylor, Carpenter. Blythe is out there. Oh, Tom Compton, what up? Jermaine Elmanor, who played some tackle. I like him. Former Raven, former Texas A&M offensive lineman. Joe Dahl is out there. Forrest Lamp, of course. Schofield, who the Vikings have been tied to several times before. Warmack opted out last year, but he's out there. Danny is how come like half of these guys on this list are former Vikings? You look at so Hinton is an ERFA, but Colby Gossett, Rashad Hill, even though he signed. They need to update this list, man. Tom Compton. I think I saw Isadora on there somewhere. It's funny. Next up. Sam Challenger Skull. Have you seen Patrick Pearson say that he'll be a quarterback for sure? Well, yeah, I could say that now, but let's see in training camp, man. Noah M. If Wyatt Davis falls to the mid-end first, second round, trade him again. Yes. Yes. Go get him. Gavin O. Would Lamp start, do you think? I think he would be in competition. I think he would be in competition with, well, for a left guard spot, depending on what they do with Ezra. But he would be in the mix with Kyle Hinton, with Oli Udoh, with rookies TBD. Yeah, I don't think he would be handed a starting job, but he would be in that mix. Zach L. Richard Sherman on safety. No, I think Sherman is still holding out hope that he's going to get paid. I don't think he will, and I think he wants to stay a cornerback. But he specifically has to be a very cover 3 heavy team. Derek Baker. Who are the best backup quarterbacks not named RG3 that could be signed for the league minimum right now? That's a good question. Oh, I saw that prediction. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't put out alien abductions out into the universe, man. Even though we do it all the time. Available. I think Blake Bortles is still available. Available quarterback enhance. See, Alex Smith. I would be okay with Alex Smith, but it's got to be cheap. McCarron. Sure. Barkley. No. Studfeld would be interesting. Griffin. Gino. No. Gabbert. Maybe. Jameis has been signed. Some of these guys might be signed because they haven't been updating. Bortles. Yeah. Well, they do wait until official contract numbers are in. Mannion had been rumored to have some interest, but I say no to that. Jumpin' Joe Webb. Yeah, Jumpin' Jake Rudock. I think Josh Dobbs is still with Pittsburgh. Josh Dobbs is actually a rocket scientist, which is funny. Next up, Chris Danny Hansen, who has the least number of draft picks. I think it's the Saints. I think the Saints only have 4 or 5 or something like that. Cajun Windley, do you think we'll sign Adrian Peterson, make football violent again? Nah, I don't think it's going to happen. That's it. So thanks for joining us at this updated time